Hello and welcome to a high-level canis game with these players on this map. It's not the traditional canis that I've typically been playing on. There are some civilian structures in the middle, so we are going to have to see how that's going to change things. There is a T2 max here, which I'm sure all the players will be interested in, and some frigates and some reclaim. But what is distinctive about this lineup is that we have got some extremely high-level players in here, so we can keep a close look as to how they're all going to play this game a little differently. For any of you who might be new to canis, the middle player is the air player, and their main responsibility is to make sure that their allies don't die to things like Nothers or strat bombers. So their priority is to keep their players alive and scout, and to make sure nothing particularly bad happens. The other players, they can do scouting for themselves, and they often should, but really it's the air player's job to try and keep them safe. The left-hand player, he is supposed to go into the left-hand side of the map, surprisingly, and he tends to take, let's zoom in, these maxes. And he's really supposed to try and maintain and take this area over here. This map is symmetrical in the sense that photo is the equivalent of the wheelie. These maxes here, these three maxes are supposed to be the air player's maxes. That's traditionally how that works. And the bottom right player, Kurotai, is supposed to take these max, this reclaim patch. This reclaim patch I've seen people fight about. But they're supposed to come up here and challenge for this area up here and try and get into this area. That's pretty good. Well, Wi-Fi, the front player, is just straight up down the middle. And obviously there's some variations as comms go back and forth and try and support each other. There is a lot of reclaim on this map, so everyone needs to try and get them. We've got some raiding bots, which is good to see. Some Silans. They're kind of like a cross between a scout and a lab. They can kill engineers, but mostly they're there to annoy. They do have cloak, so they can actually sit on. They can sit on a max point, and if you don't have radar, you can't see them. So that's difficult to deal with. Sending in RT right up front to kill the PD, so they can get the mass inside. That is a good move, and I'm sure we should see it from the other player as well. Yes. Both players know what they're doing. They're after this mass, and they are going to try and get it. We should see a lot of comms going gun comms and air snipes. That is typically how this goes. A lot of T1 spam, a lot of T2 spam, a lot of T3 spam, and also fast monkeys are very much on the cards of what to expect. So Parallon coming forward, trying to grab the frigate Rex. He knows what he's about. He's doing a good job here. His opposite, Protect, is not prioritizing again the frigate Rex, and I guess that's fine. Box is going up straight down the middle, and that's good, because often the air players tend to leave their comms in base, because they don't have a land player to fight against, but really their comm is a very, very valuable asset to shoot things with, so I always like it to see when air players send their comms in forward. Let's see. Shinobu, yes, has done the same thing. He's elected to send his comm in this part of the base map, which is fine. Box is getting the frigate mech Rex, even if Protect doesn't want it, which is good. We're just having a look. There's everyone here is like between 1700 and 2400. How do you get to such a high rate? And no one will ever know. It's a secret. T1 bombers, that's beautiful. T1 bombers are so cheap, and if you can kill this amount of engineers so early in the game, they can really put someone's build order behind and really be a disruptive influence and make sure they're focusing on this instead of what they should otherwise be focusing on. Gonna kill some 2 engineers from Box. Will he get another raid? How many engineers has this killed already? It's killed 8 engineers. That's insane. So that's extremely good value. Let's slow this down because there is a lot going on here. That's extremely good value from a T1 bomber. Parallon shooting Box in the middle. That's fine. T2 upgrading here. That's good. T2 PD and T2 RD or T3 PD even is a great way of locking this map down. In many ways, it's an open map, but because there's so many players on it, it can actually be very choke pointy. Grimplex has got guns on his Aeon Commander, so he'll have nothing to fear. He can charge right down the middle, and I'm sure he will. T2 going down on the right hand side as well. Some good raiding from... Who is the Brown? Who's Pooh Brown? Photo is Pooh Brown. I'm sorry. This color is... Yeah, enough said. So Paralon and Wi-Fi are still shooting at each other. Well, no. Wi-Fi took over from Box. Paralon essentially versed 2 commanders up front. He's going to have to be careful about keeping his hit points preserved. I think he should think about getting T2 on his comm or gun comm. This commander isn't going to last up front. He kind of needs to run almost immediately. He's in a dangerous situation here. I don't like it. Trading health against a full health comm is just going to go more poorly for him. And when you have a low amount of hit points in this kind of game, people are going to look at you as a snipe target. Mercies are always an ever-present threat. So you never want to be on the front line with a low amount of hit points. T2 mexes are coming up almost everywhere as well they should be. Shinobu is at 57 and Box is at 465, so it jumps around a bit, but generally I would say they're on par. The T2 gens are out. They should both be thinking about going T3 air very soon. So they're both rushing T3 air, which is a perfectly fine thing to be doing, so that's good. T2 finishing alpha further, so it'll be interesting to see what he goes for. TMLs on this map are also crazy effective because it's so small and there's so many T2 mexes all over the place. It's a very target-rich environment. Paralon choosing to exchange blows with Wi-Fi again. He can't keep his comm here forever. This is not a sustainable position for him to stay in. So hopefully he has a plan and isn't going to try and hold this front with his comm indefinitely. As I said before, he definitely needs to get an upgrade on his comm, and there it is. It's a T2 upgrade, which is a good choice because that also helps with your hit points. We have got Monkeys coming out. Monkeys, they're a fun unit. They don't quite have the hit points that Pillars have. I think they have somewhat more DPS, but the big thing is that they have much more range. So these guys can kite almost anything all day long if you have the APM for them. Most people do not have the APM for them. A failed drop. Drops are very good. You always want to try and early drop on people. It makes them sad. And in a game where you try to kill people, making them sad before is always an advantage. Nice raids. Just send 3 units up on the side. Probing. That's nice to see that from the Weedy. Get effective and efficient use from your units. Who's this? Cthulhu has got a nice bunch of Yenzines, which is the amphibious tank from Seraphim, but he's not using them, which is quite sad to see. You can either raid up here or raid up here, and just seeing what you can shoot, seeing what you can kill, you can get value. You can come up here, shoot these engineers, obviously try and stay away from the T2 PD until you have enough, but always try and get value. And the Weedy is up here again showing us how to do that. So in 3 units getting value killing things, has some bombers out, and no doubt they'll try and kill things too. I would have thought he'd be going after these engineering targets. And here it comes. Hopefully he'll get both of them, and he does. So let's check the T3 status. Box is not there yet. He's halfway upgraded his factory, and yeah, this is bad. Shinobu is at T3, he's getting his T3 P-Gen. So there is a small window of opportunity for Shinobu to come out with a strat. So Wi-Fi has a gun upgrade, but we do have T2 Alpha Paralon and a T2 PD, and he should be able to hold off Wi-Fi indefinitely. But what is very helpful is the comm, if he's sensible, will try and kill the T2 PD because that's what's doing the DPS. What you want to do as a comm in this situation, if Wi-Fi does attack the PD, is actually stand between the PD and the comm, and then the comm will try and shoot the PD, but he'll be shooting you in the face instead, and your face actually has a lot of hit points, so take advantage of that fact. Okay, this is what I wanted to see, a raid from the Yenzines. They will easily clear up these mantises, so I feel like you can be much more aggressive here, but it is what it is. MML is a classic counter to T2 PD. We'll see how well it works. It's Cybrant, so they're going to be annoying. There is a TMD up, but this is not a long-term position that Paralon is going to want to stay in. He doesn't have the bull power there if Wi-Fi wants to push forward. I'm always amused by the name that a tier 1 Cybran radar is called. I always want to call it a mango. Doesn't make sense why your radars should be mangoes. So we do have a T3 strap bomber out. It's going to hit a shield. It killed something. It must have been a T2 max up here. I imagine it's what it killed, but it's not getting dealt with. It's going to take out another T2 max, taking some hits from T1 AA, and it should go down soon. But it's a problem that Box doesn't have T3 air up, so the strap bomber is going to get some more damage done. And if he's smart, he will take this bomber home, and if he's super smart, he'll repair it. I don't quite know how much it costs to repair a strap bomber, but I'm sure it's a hell of a lot cheaper than rebuilding it. So, because if he even flies near T1AA, it'll die. So it might get a bomb off, but if you repair it, you can get much more value out of it. So I probably have to do some research for myself to know just how much it costs to actually repair it. But even if he drops a bomb on some Ilshiver, you can still definitely get value from this and still has a lot of threat. Really, I think expect he is healing the monster. I think that's what we're going to call this strap bomber now. In fact, he did repair it. That's exactly what I wanted him to do, and he did it. And now it's coming back for round 2. It has vet. Not that that matters all that much for a strap bomber. We'll see how it goes, see what it does. They desperately need some ASF to counter this. Desperately. This is expert use from a strap bomber. Another T2 max down. We have mobile AA. That's a great way to deal with this guy. Will that be enough to take it out? No, outrunning those missiles. Getting more kills. Oh my goodness, I think he killed another 3 T2 maxes, which is invaluable work. And maybe, just maybe, he'll repair it again, as I think he's going to, because that's a valuable unit. So it's great to see such it's great to see it being used just so well. So the bomb team at a distinct disadvantage now because they've lost a lot of T2 maxes. And the strap bomber still exists, so it's still a threat. So that's a real challenge. Especially because Shinobu also has quite a lot of ASF, so it's actually going to be difficult to deal with. You'll need like 9 ASF or more to win the air fight to make sure you kill it, or you just target the strap bomber and then you probably lose all your ASFs too. And did you know walls are really cheap? So do this. Do this all the time, all day long. Just walls for days. It will really screw up the pathing of your enemy. And if FAF isn't good at one thing, it's pathfinding, and walls really disrupt pathfinding. So always do this. Wall it up, really effective. Most players we see good use of walls. And if you do ever want to go through it, you can always just control K your walls too. So they're easily disposable if you don't need them, and they're actually really cheap. So gonna take out another T2 max and a horde of engineers. So that's gonna really annoy Protect, who was trying to upgrade his comm, so it's gonna delay that. Getting a kill in the comm is totally unrealistic because they'll just keep the mobile bouncers around. So he's gonna get another target. He might not even have to bother repairing it at this point. There's so much veterancy, he's just gonna regen hit points all by itself. This is fantastic use of a strap bomber. It's really gonna make the bomb team sad that they had Box instead of Shinobu, because I know who I'd rather have on my team in this matchup. I think that probably maybe one of the first mistakes so far, I think the strap bomber shot the mountain. I think there's the mark there. So some poor intelligence from the future, realistic robots from the future and their massive intelligence and machine learning capabilities. Yes, we will still drop bombs into mountains because we don't quite know how ballistic motions work. So we don't have too much to fear from our future robot overlords because they'll drop bombs into mountains. So Box knows he's behind and he's placing SAMs across the map, which is the right move. Also, something that I probably wouldn't be allowed to get away with in games like these, but I find if you can put UEF or Seraphim cruisers in this point in the middle, they can do amazing work just by killing air and also by ranging T2 mexes and all sorts of other nasty things. The Strap Bomb is coming in for another round, adding more insult to injury, and Protect just cannot get this upgrade hastened. This is, I keep saying it, but yeah, this is really good Strap Bomber play. Shinobu not feeling the need to build 2 Strap Bombers. 1 Strap Bomber, I suppose, will do the job just fine. Red over here is building Stingers. I guess they have air control, but there's quite a lot of mobile AA, so it's not clear exactly how much value those Stingers are going to be had. This is definitely around the time in the game where you have to really start worrying who is building a Monkey Lord and where is it being built. I don't see anything from bottom side, but I suppose they've been having all sorts of difficulties with being bombed. But anyone in the top team could be building a Monkey Lord at this point. They're choosing not to, rather going for T3 land here and a Quantum Gateway here. So going for more of the long game, going for Quantum Gateways. What's Photo doing? What's he investing his eco in? Yeah, T3 land. And also, you also have to start thinking about this chance. So Red's going into T3 air to support Shinobu. That's good. I'm missing some fights with the bomber, but you know, it's getting a bit boring. He's just flying around the map killing stuff, and he doesn't seem to be able to be stopped. But here he is stopped, and he finally dies. And to add insult to injury, the wreck is so far away from the bottom team that Red could easily claim this wreck if he wanted to, and it's 1700 mass, so go get it. If you're Red, send this engineer, go get that wreck. 1700 is a gift. And it would be nice to see him go get it, understanding the value of what that wreck is and how much it could help him. We've seen T3 Skulls flying over all this mobile air. They will die, but they'll gather valuable intel. Protect, I'm going to lose my expansion to that. And he's meaning this mobile RD. Poor Protect. He's having a bad time of it. Building a T3 mass extractor when you're under this kind of artifier is probably... I wouldn't do it. I'd be sad. I'd be more concerned about getting T2 RT than trying to rush a T3 max. He's changed his mind about that, realizing that's not the best idea. There's enough mass in here that you want to reclaim it. At the very least, it should be a T1 max because those things are so cheap and you want the mass income from them. More shells coming down, raining on his parade. He has shields. This is the right core. Usually if you have the mass, you have the mass eco, you can build enough RD to always counter T3 mobile RD, but then it's the harbingers that you have to worry about. Building the counter to the RD generally means you're going to be exposed to the land push, which is exactly what you want to do. Present a threat that you're going to have to counter against, and hopefully if Protect makes a mistake from Grimplex's perspective, if he overbuilds the amount of T2 RT he needs, then he'll be vulnerable to the harbingers. So we have a Rambo Saku coming through. I just kind of assumed to be a Raz Saku, but no sir, it is a Rambo Saku, so we're going to see how effective this guy is. Did Red just power store? I think he must have done, because the shield dropped so fast. So presumably there must be a power store, but here this guy goes. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how far he goes with this, or how far he thinks he can get to it. The comm is coming, I think, and he'll want to overcharge it, and maybe that is perhaps the best way. No, this is just another Saki, another Rambo, so I assumed the comm was going to come to overcharge, but no, it is in fact another Rambo comm, and I guess one Rambo comm versus another Rambo comm. The one that has fewer damage loses, and gets T1 bombed, so this should be cleared up. It will take some time. Those things have a nasty amount of hit points. A push down the middle from the left-hand side. So yes, Protect has buffered himself against the mobile ID, but now the T3 land bots are going to come down, and Cruthful has nothing to stop this, and there is a very, very, very good chance he just dies to this land push. I hear explosions. the Winnie cleared up that Saku, so that's good. Also 5k wreck there, it's a gift, and it looks like the Wheelie took the strap on my wreck, so good job to him for knowing its value. Cruel Thigh has to keep running, has to keep overcharging. But I would, there's a very good chance he dies here. He has to keep those overcharges going. I am not on Team Cruel Thigh here. He is going to die. Let's get the cinematic going. Those bricks are doing some work. Those harbingers are doing work, and the explosion isn't even going to stop the bricks, so the bricks are going to keep going. I have not been defeated. That is incorrect. I am not in this game. And now with the calm down, what is there to stop these bricks from just causing chaos? There is a very nice cliff overhang here to be working with. Still no Monkey Lord. So maybe I'm just in the wrong skill bracket, because at this stage of the game, people would be just massive Monkey Lords and spiders and megaliths and GCs and chickens and all going T4. But no, not here. Here we're going Sakus and Fat Boys. Here's the Monkey Lord. So first Monkey Lord only at about 22 minutes. Hey, there's a chicken here too, I found it. Yeah, so that's what Cruel Thigh was doing, but kept his calm on the front line for too long. I really like what Wheelie's doing here. It's fantastic, I've never seen this. He's flying his Saku, or two Sakus, back and forth along the map, responding to the threats as they are. Obviously they're at great risk from being hit by ASF, but this is definitely something that I could bring into my gameplay. I've never thought of using Sakus as mobile one-man armies. Oh my goodness, that camera was not good. And we have Wi-Fi pushing down the middle with his bricks. The bricks from the middle went down here causing some shenanigans, leaving a vulnerability for White to charge down the middle. And oh no, Grimplex is here, but he will have enough overchargers, I think, to deal with this amount of bricks and enough other items to get in the way. So I think he'll be okay. He'll take some damage, and Wi-Fi choosing not to push the advantage. We've got some stingers coming in, but I can't imagine that. Oh, they're red stingers, they're friendly stingers, no, they're not offensive stingers. So a ton of ASF from Shinobu. The chicken is coming, the Monkey Lord should exist, the Megalith is coming down, so all the T4 toys are starting to come out at this time. I wonder if there is a nuke going down. There is a nuke. I'm sorry I missed this. I didn't see this so fast. I did notice that top team was rush building an SMD, which is probably loaded. No, it has one missile in there and they're not stopping. They're going to load another. Two Fat Boys now building for the top team, which seems fine. A Continental for dropping. There's all sorts of things going down, but let's watch this monkey, see how this goes. Monkeys are actually quite vulnerable. They can do a lot of damage, but they die. They can die often and frequently. They just don't have that much hit points. So it has been supported by bricks and a Saku, so that's great. What I want to see from this Monkey Lord, I want to see it do damage, I want to see it push, clear out some of the area, but critically I don't want this to be a mass donation to the top team. So you always want to pull it back so that it doesn't die, and you get the wreck, if there is a wreck. So I feel like you always have to be very cautious. Don't want to push too far with the monkey. You don't want to get them a wreck. So Wi-Fi is putting it back. And I find that that's a common mistake that newer players make. They build the Monkey Lords or the Experimentals, they just throw it in the back of the base, hoping to win the game. And if it doesn't win the game, they can't just go like, oh well, let's try it again. It's a mistake. You need to keep track of your T4. You want to make sure that they don't die and they aren't a mass donation for your enemy. So he's running into way, and even if it dies here, it's not great, but at least his team will be able to get the wreckage, and they might even choose to reclaim it because he has so few hit points. We'll just have to see how they want to play it. So there's a bunch of T4, there's a Fat Boy coming down here, pushing down on Wheelie, and that's a thing that's happening. You've got two Sakus deciding that it's a good idea to play with the chicken. This is not a matchup I've commonly seen. I have no idea which way it's going to go. But I think my money is... I have no idea which way it's going to go. Those overcharges can be brutal. So, ton of gunships coming in onto these Sakus, so they're going to cry. So a lot of gunships, they're going to need some kind of AA here more than they had. The Fat Boy is happy to chill here, just shooting at his pleasure. So, okay, so that's good use of the nuke, realizing that they probably have enough. They probably have an SMD up in front and loaded, so it's going to hit the next most valuable target they can think of. And there's a GC building here, so a half GC is good to kill, and a whole bunch of T3P gens, and see what else it's going to get. Doesn't kill the GC rack. So I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like you definitely want to get more out of a nuke from that activity. The right hand side is loaded as well, and the wheelie is happy to just build as many Rambo Sakyus as he can and just throw them around the map. He doesn't have enough AA for this, no sir. He does have 3 Sakyus, but he has enough AA to keep the green horde away. We have this chicken coming back down the middle over here. Are we going to see a game ender? Are we going to see T3 RD? I think these guys are too good to worry about T3 RD, but I say that. It looks like everyone's going full ball on T4 experimentals, and this game I think is going to come down to who controls the T4 Rex. T4 Rex beget more T4s. Ain't that the truth of it? So I've lost track of the wounded Monkey Lord. We are getting a T3 RT down now, so these guys thinking that is in fact a good idea. I don't know what happened to the Monkey Lord. It's here. I found it. It no longer exists, but it is a wreck. And it's a wreck for the bomb plate team, so that's pretty cool. The Sakyu is looking to try and overcharge this chicken, no doubt, once more. Happy enough to take those hits. They do have crazy regen. This Fat Boy has to be careful. It will die to the Sakyus pretty fast once his shields are down, and we'll see if the Sakyus get the kill, and they will. So well done to these Sakyus. Well done. Okay, I presume a Sakyu died here, a new Monkey Lord. Still no one getting this wreck yet, but presumably the bottom team will claim it at some point. We've got a Fat Boy going up against the Megalith. The Megalith is happy enough to shoot a T3 Mat as well. It's sure that is a very good target to be had. Okay, so what should these guys do? This map is chaos. So much has been going on. The bottom team is losing, or at least I think that they think they're losing, which is why they're going for the T3 RD. The top team is thinking that they can finish the game out just by spamming T4 experimentals. They've got, it's hard to keep track, two chickens and a Fat Boy versus all this, and course as and the Megalith should go down. Okay, the ASF are on the course as so, and the shields on the Megalith. Oh my goodness, he's on the brink of death. Got that. He'll stay alive. The Monkey Lord is going in. I think maybe to draw fire off of the Megalith. It's working. They're getting shields up. They need to get the Megalith. They need to keep the Megalith alive. It has a ton of DPS. It did the turnabout, which is definitely, I'm quite sure, not what he intended to do. No, he is trying to turn around. Traditionally, you would often choose to do a sequence of move orders behind the Megalith, very small move orders, and that means you can walk backwards while facing the front, so your guns can shoot. So now it looks like he's going to be trying to turn around. No, still confused. I'm sure there's a lot of Mr. Wheelie to do. Nukes coming down almost certainly in this area, whether to try and hit experimentals, hit Rex, or just... Okay, let's see what it's going to do. Okay, so even just killing the Monkey Wreck is almost going to pay for the cost of that nuke, and he manages to kill a whole lot of paraphernalia as well. The Megalith goes down, but still in a good place for the bottom team to control the wreckage. So that's all good stuff. The bottom team has parried the blow from the top team, and if they can get some of this cheeky mass, it's not clear that they can, then maybe they can win this game with T3 RD. The top team still has some time to play it out, but the top team had the advantage, but I would say not so after they've lost. After this push has been parried, these chickens are a huge threat, but choosing not to push the advantage. I'm not sure about that, if that's a good idea or not. I'm just not sure. I think Wheelie is definitely carrying the game with all these Sakyus. This is such a good way of playing it. I haven't seen this before. I'm very impressed. But those chickens can't go near the Sakyus because I've just overcharged them to death, and all of them can overcharge and can just melt his HP. So it's a bad idea for them to run the chickens down into the front. The bottom team has enough experimentals to also hold it off. And if they do attack with these experimentals, then they might just give the bottom team the mass. But the top team has to think of something to do, or that artist is going to start shooting on them and start doing damage. And it's very near construction. So there are 3 chickens here from Shinobu going to push down the middle. This is very hard to stop. This is a huge threat. The top team is going to have to bring everything it has to try and stop this. He'll easily take out this area. Please don't be a com. It is a Sakyu. So the Fat Boy is going to be doing damage. The Sakyus are coming over. We have a Megalith coming through too. The front 2 chickens are taking damage. It's not clear how far Shinobu is going to want to choose to send these chickens, but he's going to have to be decisive. Or they're going to try and live with this T3 RT being in existence. I wonder if they've scouted. Sure, they must have done. They have. So they know it exists. They need a plan. I wonder what it's going to be. Is there going to be more chickens? And the plan is, in fact, just more chickens. Persistence is a quality all of its own, but I'm not sure it's the right call here. Also, if the bottom team can score a kill on one of the chickens, it will damage all of the rest with its lightning storm. So it's not always the best to have a horde of chickens. You have a Megalith coming down the side. I think I would have actually preferred Megaliths to chickens. They can do damage from range, chickens cannot. So bottom team, I think, are just going to... Oh, that is so rude. A satellite as well, adding insult to injury. The RT is up. Okay, we need an Ashwasher against bots. Top team recognizing that Ashwasher would be an excellent idea, and I'd agree with them. Using an Ashwasher to kill these Sakyus, I think, would actually work really well, and they might have enough air power to assist it. But no, Shinobu says 1 more chicken and then an Ashwasher, going all in on chickens. Is it the best idea? I don't think so. An extra chicken here isn't going to save you. I think the Ashwasher is actually the right call. Sarah from T3AA going down in the middle here. Want to get a shield on the Sakyu for sure. It will regenerate hit points very quickly. You just have to keep it alive. So nice to see a shield coming down. Oh my goodness, the chicken here died. That's a shame. I might have missed it dying, almost turned into a Fat Boy, or maybe the Sakyus came in and did an overcharge. Who knows? But the Corsairs keep coming, and again kills the Sakyus, so this is a threat to bottom team, that's for sure. And more chickens on the way, so 3 chickens here now. Many fewer Sakyus than there were before. And Megalith on the side as well. There's a Fat Boy here, and when the Rambo comms appeared to be an excellent counter to these chickens, now it's looking like a less viable counter. We have 5 Sakyus here, but these are missiles. These are missile Sakyus, so that's going to be TMDs, and that'll cause some trouble. But I'd be very, very worried about these T4 bots coming down the middle. Sure, they got an RT, it will do damage. Maybe you can shield against 1 T3 RT quite happily. Where's the satellite? The satellite is up and ready. I missed Red satellite. Red has a satellite too, and he's choosing to kill Bull Power, which is a fantastic option. Where is the satellite structure? It's over here, and he's going in. Yeah, 1 satellite is enough, is nice, but more is better. And I don't know if bottom team is going to have enough to hold off this charge of T4 bots. I don't think they do. They're killing the Sakyus too quickly, too efficiently. There's too much DPS coming on them as they try and close in, and there's not enough of them. There's a Megalith here, good, and there's a Fat Boy here, good, but I don't think they're going to have enough DPS to deal with all of this. And it's reaching the point where the Sakyus just get in the base, their very existence is an absolute threat because their Iron Storms, when they die, just causes more trouble. And I think this is going to be a top team win. I'm going to call it now. I think it's quite clear. Unless something really happens that shouldn't happen, there's no stopping these T4 bots, and they've been microed well, damage spread out amongst them. Choosing to keep them back, not choosing to send them in. An interesting choice. There is a megalith here, keep doing damage, but taking out bases is good. Doing damage is good, and that's what you want to do. You don't ever want to lose the T4 mechs. Keeping them alive is so important, and these players are showing that they know exactly what they're doing in terms of trying to make sure they keep the T4 bots alive, not giving their opponents the mass deposit that would be their wreck. This megalith is taking so much damage from so many horrible T4 bots. It is a terrible sight to behold. Oh my goodness. And he doesn't survive very long. And now with the megalith down, Shinobu is thinking that, hey, maybe sending his T3 bots straight in is the best idea. So the T3 RD is hitting this area here, probably working down the shields, maybe going for the anti-nuke, probably wanting to nuke this area is their plan. And I'm sure when they notice the nuke, when they have noticed that the anti-nuke is down, they will launch the nuke, but it is not loaded yet, so that's a problem. Obviously they'll be able to load this before the anti-nuke is loaded. They do have a chicken problem. The chickens are getting quite low now. The damage very well spread between them, meaning one Iron Storm might be enough to cause a cascade. One chicken's Iron Storm kills the other chicken's Iron Storm, 2 Iron Storms kills the third chicken's Iron Storms, who knows, we'll see what happens, but it's looking very dangerous for the bottom team here. A GC went down here, a Megalith went down here, whose were they? I don't know. Yellow's Razcoms are coming down, Satellite causing critical damage, the nuke is down. And even having done so much damage, Shinobu is still making sure his chickens don't die. Very, very patient play from Shinobu. I like it very much. 2 satellites now from red. And I think this game is effectively unwinnable for the bottom team, but they're all staying in here and doing a good job of it too. The Megalith decided that he wanted to stay. He doesn't care about megalith mass here, so it will take some P-gens out, and I think that is Box who decided he has had enough and he's prepared to call it. T3 P-gens going down, 2 satellites, the most demoralizing way to die. Protect is going to be taking damage, his final charge into defeat and death. Not even been allowed to die in dignity from the megalith, he will be beamed down to death from space. The most shameful way to die. And really is criticizing Box for making T3 RB. Seeing as they died to the T4 push, having more T4 was necessary, clearly. The T3 RT didn't have a large enough impact on the game, so maybe he was right. But also maybe the strap bomber from Shinobu at the early start pushed the back team on the bottom foot from the get-go. I don't think it's... I certainly can't say one way or the other which way it was clear, but this is a clear victory to the top tier, very high level play on Canis, and this was a pleasure to watch, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.